Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I look forward to Friday fundamentals every Friday, 3 times a day, 10:05 a.m., 10:05 p.m., and then sandwich in between at 5:05 p.m. Same message 3 times. Friday fundamentals. We're not trying to be real deep. We just want to scratch the surface of basic Bible teaching. I want to begin a series, and I'm not through with the 3 stages of Christian growth, but I want to get ahead of myself and start a series on doctrine, division, differences, disagreement, and distinctives. Is there a difference between doctrine, division, differences, disagreement, and distinctives? What I'm sharing is part of a presentation that is in a Brotherhood publication called Brotherhood Voices. And I'm just one of several ministers who have presented something. And I just want to share with you for the next few weeks bits and pieces of this presentation. Doctrine, division, differences, disagreement, and distinctives. On one occasion, Jesus made the statement, "My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me." John chapter 7, verse number 16. That phrase by itself signifies that what Jesus taught was not his own, but came from God. God is the one who sent Jesus. People who demonstrate integrity will agree that Jesus came to unite, reconcile, redeem, and save fallen humanity. Yet the teachings of Jesus caused division. In John the 6th chapter, Jesus was teaching that he was the bread of life. And except you eat of his flesh, you had no life in you. And many went back and walked with him no more. John chapter 6 and verse number 66. There was no compromise on the part of Jesus. There was no toleration for those who were offended by his hard statement. If you read John chapter 6, it even says that this was a hard saying, and who can hear it? And many were offended. Yet Jesus didn't tolerate those who were offended by the hard statement. There's a popular phrase today, "not like us." But that phrase was demonstrated and modeled first by Jesus Christ. When it comes to doctrine, and the word doctrine simply means teaching, disagreements can cause concerns which have serious repercussions. It's incumbent that the New Testament church honor doctrine authorized by God and authorized by Jesus Christ. Faith communities can resolve doctrinal disagreements by emphasizing the importance of distinguishing between differences related to doctrine and disagreements on doctrine. And I want you to hear me well. There may be differences related to doctrine and disagreements on doctrine. And they're not the same. They may seem related, but they're not the same. Differences related to teaching and disagreement on teaching. Yet there's a plea in scripture to speak the same thing, 1 Corinthians 1:10. And that plea should never be compromised, because that plea to speak the same thing represents the apostles' doctrine, Acts chapter 8 and verse number 42. And Acts 2:42 is considered predominant, the apostles' doctrine. And of course, we want biblical unity, but you cannot compromise biblical unity for speaking the same thing or compromise speaking the same thing for biblical unity. They've got to go hand in hand. Distinctives believed and practiced among churches of Christ are based upon truth. Several questions must be considered. Why is it important to distinguish between differences related to doctrine? Why is it necessary to distinguish between disagreements on doctrine within faith communities? How does one determine what variations in practice can be tolerated? Why are doctrinal fundamentals significant regarding maintaining unity in belief? The current religious climate is guilty of changing the narrative in order to justify particular practices. It is demonstrated through redefinition of words that lead to either misinterpretation or misunderstanding. The verbal banner of differences becomes an attempt to mitigate what scripture calls sin. 1 John 3:4 simply says sin is the transgression of the law. That means to go beyond what is written or what has been commanded. In this short presentation, I want to close by saying this, and this is a series. don't worry. We're going to come back to this. This is a series. But one must be extremely careful to distinguish between disagreements on doctrine and differences related to doctrine. Let me be clear. This is too serious to trivialize. There is a difference between the holy and profane. There is a difference between the sacred and secular. There is a difference between what is spiritual and carnal. There is a difference between righteousness and unrighteousness. And the difference is as clear as night and day. Christians are either obedient or disobedient. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful to distinguish between disagreements on doctrine and differences related to doctrine. I'm going to stop right there. There's a whole lot more that needs to be said, and there's a whole lot more that will be said. And I'm looking forward to sharing this. Those of you who are on Facebook or watch Facebook, you can go to my page, Facebook page, and you can find this link to what we're calling Brotherhood Voices. Well, until next Friday, may the Lord bless you, and may He bless you real